So welcome to the last video on solving multiple choice questions for the Keystone Review for 2016. These are all questions that we probably will not get a chance to go over, so please pay close attention to the process. Some of this can be done with your calculator, but some of it can't. So just be really careful about what you're watching and make sure you play this a couple of times. So number 2 says, which shows a correct procedure to simplify 3 times the square root of 8. I know we've seen square roots before, but we really can't take the square root of 8. And if you do that on your calculator, you'll get a decimal. So doing the square root of 8 is really important. What we're going to do is we're going to look at what makes up the square root of 8. If you'll notice, in all of these answers, in all of these processes, we start with 3 times the square root of 8. Then the next thing is we keep the 3 on the outside of the square root sign, which is perfectly valid, and then we break down the 8. And in the first 2, we have 4 times 2, so we make it a multiplication statement. And then the next 2, we make it addition. The correct way to do this, because taking the square root of a number is kind of the opposite of multiplying, we want to break up 8 as a multiplication, so we want to look at factors. That eliminates C and D as correct choices. To do that, 3 times the square root of 4, notice this piece of it is exactly the same then in A and B. But we have to know what the square root of 4 is. If you remember, the square root of 4 is 2. So the correct answer is A, because we have 3 times 2 times the square root of 2. 3 times 2 is 6. So that's how we get A. I hope that wasn't too complicated for you. But break down the factors, find perfect squares, and that'll help you move on to the next piece. The next question asks us, the difference of 2 polynomial expressions is shown below. So what is the value of W? If I look at these expressions, I know it's subtraction because of this subtraction sign in the middle, that minus sign. W has to do with the x terms. To subtract is kind of like combining like terms with the opposite. So if I combine my x squared terms, because they're the same, we get negative 2x squared minus x squared, which gives us 3x squared, which is great. And then I look at my constant terms, negative 4 minus 6, which gives us negative 10, which is perfect. Notice there's no x term. Because there's no x term, that means I'm looking at wx minus 5x equals 0. The coefficients have to cancel out. How do those coefficients cancel out? They can only cancel out if I have 5 minus 5. So W must be equal to 5. When you do this kind of problem, first look at like terms, and then hopefully that'll tell you which direction to go in. If you're adding things to a 0, add the opposite. So those are just some hints to look out for. Not too hard, but we have to remember how to combine like terms. Number 11 says a band is determining how many songs to record for a new album. The band members want to record no more than 16 songs, and their album has to be shorter than 78 minutes. They can record short songs that are about 3 minutes in length, or long songs that are about 5 minutes in length. Which system of inequalities best represents the number of short songs X and the number of long songs Y the band can record for the new album. Wow, that's a lot. We're talking about systems of equations right now, so this kind of fits in. Systems of inequalities are not much different except that you have the inequality signs. For this one, let's kind of pick out some important information. So we're going to talk about the number of songs. So no more than 16 songs. And I know that the short songs are X and the number of long songs are Y. So that tells me that short songs plus long songs has to be less than 16. Okay? So X plus Y less than 16. So we're going to eliminate C and D right off the bat. I can eliminate them because they don't have that X plus Y, some sort of less than or equal to 16. Okay? I can also look at the length of the songs. So their album has to be shorter than 78 minutes. And they can record short songs that are 3 minutes and long songs that are 5 minutes. So that means my short songs plus my long songs, so 3 times X plus 5 times Y is shorter than 78 minutes. Well, both of these seem reasonable, but we have to understand what those words mean. So no more than has to do with equality. Okay, so no more than means 16 or less. Okay, so it could be equal to 16, but it could also be less than 16. That alone tells me that B is the correct answer. And then if I wanted to verify that, okay, their album has to be shorter than 78 minutes, so not equal to 78 minutes. Okay, so that tells me, again, that verifies that B is the correct answer for that one. A lot of words, highlight the important stuff, and hopefully things can come together. The next one has to do with Nate buying at least 10 cans of fishing bait. Each can costs $7 and each small can costs $3. He will spend up to $54 on bait. This system of inequalities is graphed below. So this is how we graph it. Which combinations of cans could Nate buy? This isn't as hard as it looks because everything that's in the shaded area is a solution. So if we have points that are in that solution area, then we know that Nate can buy that combination of cans. So large cans are our X value and small cans are our Y value. So let's make these points. So we have 2, 8 is a point. So 2, 8 is right here. Okay, it's right on this piece right here. And then the next one we have 2, 10. So 2, 10 is right up here. And we have 6 large and 10 small cans. Well, 6 large and 10 small cans, that's not in my area, so that's not good. That one is definitely not an answer. And then we have 8 large and 2 small. So 8 large and 2 small, again, is not in my shaded region. So C and D are not correct answers. 2, 8 it looks like it's on the edge. Okay, he has to buy at least 10 cans of fishing bait. So that's good that way. So it looks to me, because the 210 is right in that area, B is the correct answer to that one. Sometimes when things are on the edge of your system, of your area, sometimes they're not included, so you have to be careful about what your inequalities actually mean. Just be sure to verify by putting your points on the graph. You have to understand what everything means. And the last one, a data set shows the number of minutes each of 153,477 students takes to complete a reading test. The median completion time is 110 minutes. The interquartile range is 34. Which statement about the completion times is most likely to be true? So, important word for this one is interquartile. Okay, so the interquartile range is 34. So that tells me that this is a box and whisker plot. If you forgot, they look something like this. Okay, so the interquartile range tells me that we've got whatever number we have here and whatever number we have here is 34. Okay, box and whisker plots, remember 25% is on each whisker, and then 50% is in the box. So it says of these students, 25% complete the test in 110 minutes or less. So the median completion time is 110 minutes. The median is the middle, and remember there's 25% here and 25% here. So no way is A right. Of these students, 50% complete the test in 110 minutes or less. That one could be true. Of these students, 75% complete the test in 127 minutes or less. I don't know how the median is not necessarily in the middle of the box, so I don't know that that's true. And of these students, 75% complete the test in 144 minutes or less. And again, I don't know if that's true because they're adding 34 to the median. So of these, B would be the most likely answer. I have to go back and study box and whisker plots. I'll put something up later on to do that. Good luck, and ask your questions in class. Thanks.